Alright, so we're going to put the cylinder kit together here. We got a little booklet that came with the kit, which, nice thick booklet to show you how to build one of these motors. It does have some good stuff, like it tells you the short side of the split on the crankshaft. Connecting rod is toward to be the piston mark cam side. So it's got some stuff like that, because on here you can see the piston's not symmetrical. So this is the short side of the split, this is the cam side, so we're going to go together this way. And we've got a new wrist pin, got new snap rings for it, we've got new O-rings for our sleeve, and we've got a new sleeve. This one's been on the shelf a bit. I did clean up the outside here a little bit, just on the bottom, but it's brand new. So we're going to start off by replacing this awful piece of junk and that broken thing with this $25 good takeout, and new piston and new sleeve, and right here I've got a new set of rings. So I'm going to put this all together, and then we'll put a ring compressor on there. We'll go out to the truck, pop the sleeve in, drop the whole assembly down in, and then we can bolt the cap on with fresh bearings, which right here, onto the crank, and then we'll be ready to put the head gasket and head onto the motor. At which point I am going to put the radiator in before I do the oil pan. Obviously all the accessories on top that need to go on there, but I just want the head on there and the coolant system sealed. I'm going to fill it and pressurize it, just because it's not a new motor. These do sometimes leak down. So this is upside down, so the top side is sealed by the head gasket, then all the coolant is against the liners, and these three O-rings separate the oil from the coolant. So while the oil pan is off, if I pressurize the coolant, if any of the O-rings on either this cylinder or the other 5 are leaking, I'll be able to see coolant drip down the bottom. So this is a quick, easy time to check if I have any leaks in the O-rings. It doesn't really affect anything else. This just means I put the oil pan on last. Did have some problems. It detonated this thing pretty brutally, as you can see, and it ate a lot of coolant. So I just want to make sure nothing else is broken. The cylinders look good, but let's make sure they're not leaking, and we'll keep moving. Okay, we're in pretty good shape. So I got piston rings in using these babies. Grabs the end of the ring into the groove. So there's oil and then 2 upper rings. Came with a guide, so silver, black, and oil ring. And I got the wrist pin slid in. They should be pretty tight. They do just slide through. I put a little grease on it. And then really important to make sure your the snap rings that hold the wrist pin are in tight. Just use a pair of needle nose. You can grab the tangs, pinch them, in they go. Make sure they're fully opened. You can see got extras here, how big they start. So just make sure those are all the way out. That's a huge failure point for lousy rebuilds. If people don't get those all the way and it pops out, it destroys your cylinder. That'll happen quick if you do it wrong. And then stuck the piston ring compressor on here, which this is clamped down. You can see it says cam side here, and that is on the short side of the split. We got new bearings in there. We got a little grease on them just so they start up nice. The old ones were marked standard in the replacement rod and the old rod. So if it had standard bearings in it, and I put standard bearings in it again, then should be good to go. And then our liner, put the 3 O-rings on there, made sure they weren't twisted. If you look real close, there's a little line down the center of them. That's the seam from the mold. You don't want that twisted. You wouldn't think so, but if that's twisted, it will leak. So there's 3 of those on there, and After that's stuffed in, we can drop the piston in, give it a tap to knock it down through the ring compressor, which will get the rings down into the sleeve. It'll line up here. When we tap it, there's a little bit of a taper which will take it from the edge of here into there. Like the cat kits come with a cap on top that suctions it so you can put the whole thing in complete. I don't have those caps, I have to put it in anyway, so I'm going to put the liner in and then I'll put the piston into the liner. Get down below, probably have to pull it down a bit, down onto the crank, thread the cap on, and tighten her down, torque it properly, and then the cylinder will be replaced. And that'll be time for head gasket and head. Hey guys, awkward spot. I die checked this to make sure this was good to go. The block is not cracked. It's all cleaned out. Time for a new sleeve. There's a new sleeve. I'll put a little bit of soap on the O-rings. Won't swallow them up the way oil can. So, I'm going to get the sleeve in here. Without cutting an O-ring. This puller works pretty nice for pulling them down. Not pushing very hard, it's just trying to get it even. And smells like the mice have really expanded their dominance over my truck too. They were bad before, but they've gotten worse. See if it's like my other truck. I fired it up the other day, fired a whole mouse nest straight out the stack, about 10 feet in the air and rained down all over the place. It's pretty gnarly. So now we have a new sleeve in the block. Alright, we're all cleaned up. It's hot enough. I got rags down because I'm dripping sweat and I'm not trying to rust my block with salty sweat. So here's our piston we put together. This side says cam side. Our cam's over here. So we're all clean. We got half the bearing in there. I'm gonna set this baby down. So we're set out in place. And I got a wood handle. Tap her down in. I'm gonna go check and see where the rod is, make sure that's lined up properly before we lose the compressor. Should be all lined up down there. Tighten it back up and get this top ring in. Compressor popped off. Not the end of the world. Just don't keep hammering or break the ring. Alright, I got the key. Loosen her up a little bit. Or a lot of bit, I guess. Last tap. Well, it's further in than we need, but I'll push it back up. We'll get the connecting rod connected, and I'm going to torque the bolts. So we got the new head here. Hanging from the crane, we're going to maneuver it into position. We'll slide the head gasket in there when we're close. Bolt this baby down, and top of the motor will be sealed finally. This is a pain in the book. Alright, a little awkward. I think we're close enough. I'm cleaned off. Let's get a gasket on there. I don't want to set this twice. Got a fresh gasket kit here. My luck, it'll be wrong. It's just like the last engine kit I got, but we're going to give it a shot. Bulldozer project hit that. I started to put the pistons together and liners didn't fit in the block. Fresh head gasket. Look at this baby. See if we can get it in here without making a mess of it. There we go. That's in place. Believe it or not, this is easier than the way I took it off. There we go, got head on there. We'll get all the bolts in, we'll get those torqued. Yeah, we'll keep going. I gotta clean all the bolts, but I'll bring it back as soon as I get the bolts cleaned. Let me show you what I got going here. I got all the head bolts dropped in there, all the push rods in there, rocker shaft. I've not adjusted valves. I did just torque the head bolts. Torque specs 165. I just did them in a regular sequence, then double checked them. Next, I think we're going to adjust the valves. Looked up, looks like online they're 0.025. Sounds about reasonable. I got it on top dead center, so we can do number 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 10, and then we'll roll it over 180, and we'll roll it over to put number 6 on top dead center, and we can do 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 12 as numbered in this chart that I found online for adjusting DT466 valves. So these should be just like any other valve you deal with. You get your gap. I got these loosened up to put everything in. So we're going to tighten it down with a screwdriver on our gauge just at its happy place. There we go. You hold it with a screwdriver, tighten down the lock nut, and this can sometimes adjust it just a hair. So you want to check it again. That's probably a little tighter. I need it. It does change just a hair, and I'll probably want to check these before too long once it's run in, especially the couple fresh push rods in here, just to make sure it's good. I'm sure the new ones will wear in a little bit and everything else might seat. It's not a bad idea to just check it all. Wow. It's easy to be lazy and not do it, but you can really screw up the motor if your valves are too far off. Alright, so that's our first set. Just rolling it over with a ratchet on the flywheel here. And compressor. And watching the valves here. Turn it so you can see them go. I think that's about right, because let's see what the clearance looks here. You usually do all your loose ones if it's actually properly loose. You know, if its pair is down, it should be fully released. So we're supposed to be doing 4, which is this guy. 5, which is here. So that's how you adjust your valves. I'm just going to double check all these, and let me get the valve cover, get some fresh seals put in the lid, and the little grommets for the bolts. I'll get the fresh ones put in there, and then we'll come back and put that on. We got a fresh gasket on our valve cover. It's not the prettiest valve cover in the world, but it's going to work. I got it all wiped out. I'm going to keep it clean. I wish I had a fresh one or time to sandblast it, but I'd really rather not get junk in the engine because I'm trying to spice up the valve cover. So that drops on there. And then I know there's a couple brackets I need to go on. I'm trying to remember where exactly they go on here. But we'll just set a few bolts in here to get started. I got fresh sealing washers. I usually give you those in the kits. About 6 bags deep I got to this bag. So a bag and a bag and a bag. So it's just a little cap with a rubber seal in it. We'll sit on there. The bolt drops down, threads in. So I'm going to set these in. I'm not going to go nuts on them yet because I know there's a couple brackets which I got to figure out what they are. Go on the top here. And I think we'll probably keep going on this a little bit more today. It's stinking hot, but I'm still getting there. Yeah, back to, you can't see from here, but I'm going to do the same thing there. Alright, I got the intake here. It's all cleaned up. I got some of the corrosion off it. Just ran a drill bit down through the holes. They're full of oxidized aluminum. That way the bolts will fit. Got the new gasket for it. Got the old one all cleaned off. Now, I could try to glue it on, but I think I'm just going to do a regular old, just stick some bolts in so it hangs there. And just put it on carefully, and I think we'll be just fine. Just to get it started. I did have to get a few fresh bolts. Some of them broke off on the way out. Using plenty of anti-seize, especially with the aluminum fittings, or the aluminum manifold. Can get pretty crusty pretty easily. Just nicer to not have a mess later on. Yeah, it's my truck, so if I ever need to work on it again, I'd like to be able to. Not shearing everything off, just makes more work. And you really can't see the bottom, so I'm going to get the bottom ones in, snug it up, and we'll be back. Alright, next we're going to put the turbo and exhaust back in. I got fresh gasket on here because it was leaking. Cleaned up, fresh seals. I'll see if I can put one section in loose and then worm the other sections onto it because it's heavy. So we got some injectors here. This is the line of injectors I have it. I just started on. It's got a few fresh hoses here, and then you can see the old ones are all sorts of crispy, and then these old grommets, they're hard as a rock. I actually had one of them so hard it shattered when I tried to take it off. So they're supposed to be rubber, not making clicking noises. So we're getting these injectors ready to go back on. So stripping off all the rubber, because we got fresh. Then there's copper washers on the tips. We're stripping these out real careful, because I got new ones. And we're going to change out the hose, and we're going to put it in. The idea being, these copper washers are probably fine, but the kit comes with them, so use new. You're supposed to replace these. And I have them, so I'm going to do it. And the hose looked terrible. I don't need fuel leaks, so I'm going to replace that too.